What's going on, ladies and gents? It is Thursday night. That means we're wrapping up the week here in the NNR Cup Series. Truck guys got it done. Xfinity guys got it done. Now it's time for these Cup guys to take their turn around the Windy City, find out who could possibly be the winner of what might be the final race at Chicagoland. We don't know whether the next game is going to have this track since it's not part of the schedule. So whoever wins this race is going to have big bragging rights for possibly a very long time. As always, on Thursday nights, the one and only Rick James right here in the booth, and joining us from the Korean Peninsula, at least the south side, that is. They don't call them Southside Vols for nothing. Oh, Mr. Tennessee Vols. Gentlemen, it's going to be one hell of a race. It's been one hell of a week. Vols, first off, how you doing, buddy?
Man, I'm fantastic. I appreciate the intro. Southside Vols, that kind of rhymes. We might have something that sticks here.
I like it. I like it. Rick James, man, Rick, buddy, it has been one hell of a week, one hell of a first half to this NNR season. And don't let me forget, before we sign off tonight, I got something for you, sir. Please remind me a little bit later on. But Rick, how you doing?
I am ready to go, Pete. I'm well. Thanks for asking. I hope you are also doing well. Round 15 of the 2020 NNR Cup campaign now at Chicago. I am so pumped for this one. It's only going to be the second race in the 2021 calendar portion of this campaign, but already you've got a couple new drivers making a debut tonight, and you've got some old ones that are looking to knock off the leaders at the top of the table.
I mean, talk about guys like Dr. Bush that made a huge statement during the American Ethanol All-Star race. He caught the attention of many leagues, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what he's capable of up against NNR's best, as well as a few others. Before we get all this started, we're gonna bring it on over to our buddies over at Madison Rising. Big thank you to those guys for allowing us to use their version of the national anthem at the start of each and every one of these races. I choose to keep it aside for the Cup guys, make it something a little special. Ladies and gents, please stand, remove your hats. Here's our buddies.
So proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets trembling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land under the praise
All right, we are back. Thank you very much for hanging out. They are just about ready to take the green, so we're going to go ahead and try to slide on in there as quickly as possible. They went through pretty quick. Let's see. There is the invite from Coey. And let's see. Definitely hope everybody out there is ready. I know I'm ready, and of course, because we've been sitting idle for a while, the game is going to take its sweet old time loading as well. Here we go. So let's go ahead and get our buddies in here. Here's Rick James. Here's your invite, sir. And the one and only Tennessee Vols. I'm trying to find you, I promise. Vols, looks like you might be offline. Rick, can you please find him so I can get through the field here right quick?
Love to, Pete. Let's get through this field.
Appreciate you. All right, big thank you to Madison Rising for allowing us to use that version. And we're about to ready to go through the field as soon as this all goes away. Cowboy Matt, NNR Cowboy, I'm not going to forget about you tonight. Thank you, buddy, for coming on out. As always, absolutely appreciate you. Let's see here. Looks like it's going to be the 13 of Lucky Dog on the pole with the 18 of Rowdy to his outside. 37 of Honestly You're Bad with the 8 of Fort Smitty. 48 of the one and only Aviator. 42 of CGMX Rose. The 12 of Knights and the 22 of J-Pa. 36 of Boehner. The 20 of Dr. Bush. Not going to have enough time, but we're going to get there. 95 of Jose. 32 of NNR Drake. 10 card Cheese with the 16 of NNR Trippy. Warned not to lag out tonight. 9 of a More Smoke. 41 of Dan the Lawman. 53 with the 4 of Natty Dread to his outside. 88 of Alpha York. The 14 of J Quims. 24 of Coey. The 2 is Stout Whiskey. 47 of Augustus. The 21 of Parzival. And we are back up front. And Rick, we already got a change for the lead.
Already got to change the 18 car to the front, but now the 13 of Lucky Dog moving to the inside out of the second corner. Going to try and drag race into turn number 3.
Yeah, looks like the 13 is actually going to be able to pull side by side with the 18. A little bit of a side draft. They are side by side, 3 rows deep, all the way back to the 48 of the Alpha York, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, big battle up front. Still side by side, Vols.
Yeah, still side by side for the lead. Got the 18 rocking that outside 37. Picking which lane he wants to push. Then you have the 48 of Aviator coming up here. He's in P number 5. He just slid by there. Now the 18 goes wide. 13 goes to the bottom. 37 is going to challenge for second at the exit of 4.
Yeah, 37 down low. Again, that's Honestly You're Bad to the inside of the one and only NNR Rowdy. Picking the 18 car absolutely suits him, suits his style, suits his personality. Definitely everybody in the NNR Cup Series knows he's not afraid to use that bumper. Rick, this high line is motivating.
More speed on the outside, especially for car 42 and car 48, Pete. The Aviator in the 48, CGMX Rose in the 42. 2 of the usual suspects that we saw last week at Gateway demolish this field early in this opening stage. They seem to be content in the top 5. Lucky Dog leading this race has a mirror full of Camry.
A mirror full of Camry, a mirror full of 5 cars stacked up behind him. We've seen what happens whenever one guy gets stuck down on that low side and the people on the high side get moving, or just vice versa. They might be down low and they might be up high and the guys on the bottom get moving. So it really all depends on what kind of friends you've got with you, and with the amount of skill and the amount of speed that this 13 of Lucky Dog and the 42 of CGMX Rose have. They don't have very many friends. Vols, I was looking at the points before we started tonight. CGMX Rose has a triple-digit lead back to P2 with 10 races left before we head to the playoffs.
Yeah, man, these guys are putting on a show, especially that 42. The 42's been up there leading races, winning stages, winning races. And I believe I heard it right. There's only been 4 winners in the Cup Series. So the question is we had a first-time winner last night in the Xfinity Series, if anybody was watching. Who's going to win tonight? I know Lucky Dog and Aviator and Rose are leading this race right now. But who can surprise some people? Who can come up here and mix it up with these guys? I know there's a lot of people in this field that would love to be up here talking to us at the end of this race as a first-time winner in NNR.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Lucky Dog, CJMX Rose, they've been there. Aviator, two-time Cup Series champ, knows how to get it done. So far, winless this year. 37 of Honestly You're Bad. He's up here with these guys that are up here every single week. He'd love to surprise everybody and grab himself a win. NNR Rowdy, he is the one and only champion to win the Xfinity, the truck, and the Cup all in the same season. Back in the inaugural season for this community. So there's a lot of very, very stout cars, and talk about stout, he'd love to get a win too. He hasn't had a win since he swept Bristol last year. Sure, he'd love to be in victory lane. J-Pa wants to break that streak of the top three, maybe being a bridesmaid. He wants to once and for all stand on Rick's top step of the podium and come to the booth. So yeah, there's a lot of people out here clamoring for a win. There's a lot of people out there that need a lot of points too.
30 laps to go in this opening stage, Pete. 13:48, your top two, 3 Chevrolets, top 3 with the 37 of Honestly You're Bad, rounding out the podium positions thus far. These top 2 in points, easily 2 of the most dominant drivers that you would expect to win this race. Funny enough, they sit 11th and 12th in points, given the fact that they did not run the majority of the first half of the regular season, Pete. But the gauntlet has been picked up by Lucky Dog and Aviator, respectively. Given the gap back to the 37 of Honestly You're Bad, you can see they're starting to run away with it.
Starting to run away with it, but I'm seeing a very, very fast Shell Pennzoil double deuce driven by the 22 of J-Pa, hashtag J-Pa Militia. He's got his buddy Cheese a couple cars back in the 10, and of course the 95 of Jose 95. So you got a pack of 5 racing really, really hard, nose to tail. Then you got a pack of 6 that are pretty much nose to tail. One car is kind of like the odd man out. I see the Deuce there, a Stout Whiskey, and a few others. So if those guys up front decide, you know what, they don't want to stay nose to tail anymore, Vols, they might be able to catch them. We'll have to see. A lot of really strong cars out here tonight. What is it? I think it's like 25, 27 cars deep. Pretty good field.
Yeah, absolutely great field here tonight. There's a lot of fast guys in here. I've been paying attention to this 12 car. He's kind of moved out of the way. He realized that, hey, we got a better idea of just getting behind each other and pushing. This is great racing back here in the back. They're actually mixing it up, and they're losing the top 8. The top 5 is pulled away from them. As honestly, the bad split up out of the group. 18 gets under him up here. It's changed for 3rd and 4th up in front.
Yeah, working my way back up there right now. I just saw the 47, the 37, and whatnot. But Lucky Dog, he's got. This was something that they didn't want to see. 1 or 2 cars get up in a tandem and start to pull away, much like what you used to see at Daytona and Talladega years ago. The dreaded tandem push, except they were mostly saving it for the very last lap. Well, you know what? When stage points are on the line, not like that, just much like they weren't before, what they're doing right now is absolutely needed. Again, the 13 of Lucky Dog with the Aviator right behind them, both of them on great equipment, both of them can hold a great line. The 18 of Rowdy back there, he's trying to pull the rest of this, what was a 5-car pack, back up to these 2, and then you've got the Hornet's Nest back behind these 5 leaders.
Pete, that Hornet's Nest now being led by a More Smoke into turn number 1 with the 2 of Stout Whiskey and the 41 of NNR Drake, your top 3 in line. 23 laps to go as Jose goes around in the second corner. We stay green so far. 9 leading 1 car around on the backstretch, and J-Paul, who was in 6th place, now shuffled outside the top 10.
I gotta give a big old welcome to a brand new amazing woman out there in chat. Y'all see that Becker's 50? Well, that's Mrs. 1975. Beck, I wanted you to come out, hang out, and say, hey, I'm glad you did. You can hang out as long as you want. If I'm loud, well, you know what? Too bad. This is my thing. Thank you very much for allowing me to do my thing. I love you, baby.
Oh, that's awesome. Welcome to the Mrs. 1975 up here in the chat. I'm going to text my wife to get her in the chat. Maybe get something started. I think my mom's probably out there too.
Yep.
Turn on the stream yet.
Yep.
Hey, Mom.
Bama's out there, and the last person she said hi to was Rock. So absolutely.
Well, a little news. My nephew went into surgery today. He came out just fine. So best wishes to Gabe and Katie and all them out there. And I wish I was there, but I appreciate the message at like 1 o'clock in the morning my time.
No, definitely all kinds of well wishes, sir, as always. Let's see. Still working on through. There's that 12 of Knights that kind of caught your eye just a little bit ago. He's got the 14 right in front of him instead of the in front of the 16 of Tripp is that 47. And these guys are running side by side. 14 looks like he's going to join a couple others that have taken it down pit road and cut the stage right in half. 13 laps left in the tank. I didn't grab a lap count, so anybody know what we got left here in stage 1?
20 laps to go in stage number 1, Pete. The 16 of NNR Tripp falling well off the pace here. The 9 of Amore Smoke also starting to gain on 3rd, 4th, and 5th respectively, while the 13 and the 42 pull away. The 10 of Cheese down pit road, as is the 22 of J-Paw. So those Fords in that earlier Hornet's Nest now getting their tires and fuel. Meanwhile, Jose 95 with heavy damage needs to make a pit stop soon. Dr. Bush in the 20 car, the newbie Pete, now signaling he's about to come down pit road.
Yeah, Dr. Bush, again, he caught a lot of people's attention during the American Ethanol All-Star race at Las Vegas Motor Speedway just, what was it, last weekend, Rick? And the reason that the 9 of Amore Smoke is really able to start catching these guys, I think the guys up front have really ran hard for quite a while. Plus, he's got a great pusher with the 41 of Dan the Lawn Man right behind him, heading into 3. I'm sure it's not going to be long before these guys hit the binders and take it on down pit road. Haven't seen them status yet, but Vols, it's not going to be long.
No, not going to be long at all. They're catching it. Also, honestly, your bats up here leading no Rose and Rowdy, and they're making some headway to catch these 2 leaders. They got a three-car train going on, and I'm sure it would only get stronger when Amore Smoke gets up here and Dan the Lawn Man gets pushing. But I expect pit stops to start happening very soon. We've seen in the truck in the Xfinity race that these guys split the stage up down the road, and they were able to go as hard as they could the entire run. You know, they played it perfect. They split the stage, and then they were able to run very fast. So now we got to see who's going to play the strategy on this 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and maybe even 6th place position to try to leapfrog or gain some time on the top 2 leaders.
Yeah, 16 laps remaining. It'll be 15 to go once you see this Geico 13 for Lucky Dog come across the line. Then you got the 48 of the Aviator that has been right up his tailpipe, or as Rick would say, right up his trumpet for the last 10 laps. Rick, it seems like there is no separation between these two. Almost kind of like the old, Herbie the Love Bug movie where Herbie's latched on to Dale Jarrett's car at Auto Club and just can't shake him. It's kind of the same thing here. It doesn't seem like Lucky Dog's been able to shake the Aviator at all. Kind of wonder if he's maybe trail braking just a little bit.
Pete, I'm thinking that the Aviator is just riding around behind the 13. It's only stage 1, and there's plenty that the Aviator can learn just by riding around behind the 13. A lot about fuel mileage, tire wear, and how the 13 of Lucky Dog likes to run this race. Look at that gap back to the 37 of Honestly You're Bad. He's got CGMX Rose behind him in 4th. Rowdy bringing up 5th place in that number 18 Camry. These 3 drivers need this draft relationship like the top 2 need their draft relationships. So if these drivers pit together in these coming laps, they should be right around the same sort of gap when the stop cycle around.
Well, you got the 13 of Lucky Dog with the 48 of the Aviator. Back here, you've got the 42 of CGMX Rose. Honestly, you're bad. It looks like the 18 of Rowdy, he just kind of nailed that apron just a little bit, kicked him up track. But with this high draft setting, he should be able to pull himself back up. A little bit of lag in the lobby, not too bad. Hopefully, we don't get that kick here. But man, it's kind of early for the bump, Rick. But seeing a couple of these cars dance around a little bit.
Still about 48 and a half minutes until that bump, that 10 o'clock shock to the servers that we see almost on a nightly basis, and that's ruined many a race for this community. So that's what we're hoping to avoid. The leaders now with less than 13 laps to go, still enjoying a marvelous lead. Then you've got drivers like Ford Smitty in the 8 car. Honestly, you're bad in that 37 car. Drivers that really, honestly, you're bad in the 37, looking to do a little bit better than he has been in recent weeks, Pete.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, your bad is, I've said it before, honestly doing very, very well. Keeping up with some of the fastest here in NNR. CGMX Rose, we talked a moment ago about him having a triple-digit point lead with 10 races to go before the championship. Somebody's going to have to do something, go on down to Miami, grab this guy's wheel, disassemble it, every single nut, bolt, gear, drive, everything. Disassemble it, see if this 18-year-old kid can put it all back together again and try to get it back out on track. Or maybe like they mentioned in the movie Days of Thunder, a Japanese inspection. Pull it all apart, let it get ripe, and when you don't want it anymore, you get rid of it. Who knows? But yeah, somebody's going to have to do something very, very quick. Step up big if anybody's going to have anything for CGMX Rose when we get to that 6-race stretch heading towards the championship.
37 right here stayed out an extra lap past the leaders. He took the lead for a brief moment, but he's coming down pit road this time by. I'm curious on what his strategy is, if he's going to try to take 2 tires and maybe leapfrog these guys, but he's going to lose a lot of time to the 42 and the 18, and they came down 2 laps sooner than he did. Maybe lose a little bit more time to the 48 and 13 as they came down a lap prior as well, but he's joined by the 9 of Amore and Daniel Longman. Both came down at the same time, so 37, your leaders on pit road.
All right, so this should just about complete the cycle of green flag pit stops, Rick. There's behind the top 5 that have just completely skated away or skirted away, whatever you want to say. The remaining drivers in the back, they were still in mostly somewhat of a couple of packs. You had the top 5, you had about a pack of 7 or 8 cars, give or take. Then you had another small pack, and ultimately adding up to about 26 drivers out here. And it'll be interesting to see if those that pitted just a lap or 2 early are actually able to make up any kind of ground. They can come on out after making any adjustments. They're on 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods. They should only be able to, they should have only taken just enough fuel to get them to the end of the stage, which, oh, by the way, is in just 7 very short laps.
The 42 of CGMX Rose now exiting turn 2. Meanwhile, the 1348 tandem of Lucky Dog Aviator now entering the second corner. So it will be 7 laps to go now. 6 at the line when the 42 crosses, Pete. It must have been a 2-tire or no-tire strategy, because Rosie is leading with a massive advantage.
Yeah, working my way back up to Rose. So that means he would have skated on by. I'm going to guess, Rick, that was just a 2-tire pit stop, if anything. I don't think he could have been able to make it on those right sides. I didn't see the wear. It really was all about fuel. So if he did just come on down, take a splash, and get on out, that could be one of the gutsiest calls, and something that everybody else should take notice of once we get to stage 2. Maybe they can pull the same thing.
A lot of strategy certainly afoot here with the 42 of CGMX Rose scraping the wall out of 2, Pete. You can already see that he's lost just a little bit of that magic grip in those fresh right sides when those left sides are just wearing further and further. But the laps dwindle, and if he drives cautiously, he can nurse this car home, maybe pick up some extra stage points, and possibly try and find a way to win this race, because the 13 and 48 are still poised to stick nose to tail.
Yeah, and after after these next 4 laps now, actually it's funny. I'm watching right now with one of our onboards, Alpha York. He just crossed the start stripe, and CGMX Rose is going through 3 and 4. So that's the kind of lead that he's got, and Alpha York's in P12. He's not tail end Charlie. He's just about right that smack in the middle of the field. So that's just, man, the lead that this guy has right now, just phenomenal.
That lead is closing. I'm watching him pump forward to the 42, and you can see the 13 and the 48 coming up behind him. They are coming with a huge head of steam, nose to tail, pushing each other through the corners and down the back front straightaways. But man, this 42's got to go, because by the time we get to that final lap, they're going to be there.
Yeah, on board right now with the 48 Ally Camaro for the Aviator. And yeah, like you just said, Rick, he's got the 13 Geico Camaro right in his sights. They can see the 42, and if the 42 keeps slip sliding around, slapping a wall every now and then and whatnot, these guys will be on him like white on rice very, very soon. If he only did take just right side tires, which more than likely he did, I hope that he practiced that, because that could be why he's smacking the wall just a little bit. Could be just a little loose, and that's only going to get worse in the closing laps.
This is going to be the final time that he has to manage these worn tires, Pete. It was a bold gamble coming into the pits, but it looks like it paid off for the opening stage for car 42. Aviator now to the inside of car 13, looking to get second place. The 42 not afraid about the 13 being on him like white on rice. He's going to collect the flag, and the 42 wins stage number 1, and the 48 of Aviator just edges Lucky Dog for second place.
Yeah, that was a great battle. We've seen many great stage ending drag races throughout the first several races. That one didn't disappoint either. Got him by just a fender. Ladies and gents, we're going to head on over to NNRLeague.com, take a look around just a little bit. Keep it right here, and as always, we will be we'll be right back.
Hey NNR fans, are you looking for a way to rep your favorite NASCAR Heat preset league on Xbox Live? Look no further. Just go to NNRLeague.com, scroll down to the Zazzle tab, and see what we have to offer. From t-shirts to hoodies to clocks, we have everything you need to show your support. Thanks for being the best fans, and we hope to see you at the track repping that NNR red.
All right, y'all didn't miss a single thing. Gonna try to work our way back up right now. Looks like 21 of Parsifal's lagged out, but here we are. So you got the 47. Looks like he forgot to pit, as well as the 24 of Coe. So the guys that were up front before, they're gonna reassume their position. 42 CGMX Rose up front, 13 the Lucky Dog right behind him. New player, Deuce of Stout Whiskey, riding in P3. 48 of the Aviator is going to try to hold him on that bottom line. Here comes the 9 of More Smoke, and the 47 Cottonelle Ford of Honestly You're Bad. Bottom line looks like it's going to prevail here, Rick.
As they try to get wound up to speed, that inside line is going to move with one car who's turned around. It looks like the 47 of Augustus probably, who's trying to get back into pit road, facing 180 into the first corner. 42, 13, 2 Chevy Ford. CGMX Rose leading the charge, and now look at him slide high out of the corner as these drivers maximize the speed out of these turns. In the top 3, now the top 2 for the first time, that black and yellow Ford Mustang of Stout Whiskey.
Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. I just picked up the 20 car of Dr. Bush. In the American Ethanol All-Star race from from Las Vegas, which is a track very, very similar to Chicagoland. Dr. Bush was up front. He led a whole bunch of laps, contended for the stages, contended for the ultimate win, and now here he is mired back just a little bit behind the 88 of Alpha York and right in front of the 14. Welcome to the NNR Cup Series, Dr. Bush. Good to see you out here. Let's see what you're capable of. Definitely appreciate the show that you put on back then, and looking forward to more of it. First race out here, Vols. So far, keeping it clean, keeping it green. Don't really see any damage on this 20 Camry right now to the inside of the 88.
Yeah, now we have battle for the lead. Stout Whiskey entered him to P number 1. He gets by the 42. Now it's a drag race for second. 48 on the bumper of the 9 car. Now we have Lucky Dog coming up through pushing Rose. It's side by side, 2 abreast for the top 5 position. This race is starting to play out. These guys got their adjustments in, and they are running them down. It is a lot of people, and now there's a little lag here. The 22 lagged back, got the 12 just a tad bit, but it's still side by side going into turn number 3.
Yeah, going down turn 3, Stout Whiskey went from the top line down to the bottom line, sealed off the turn from the 42 of CGMX Rose. Lucky Dog back there, the 37's back there, 22 of J-Pa, the 9 of More Smoke, and so many others. Now the 42 is going to try to duck on down. He's got Lucky Dog right behind him. Not very many up behind Stout. They're going to actually switch lanes. A little bit of contact between the 42 and the Deuce. That's going to put them side by side going into 3 and 4, Rick.
32 leading into the third corner, the 2 of Stout Whiskey being left high and dry, the 9 of More Smoke drifting high, but not enough to get behind that 2. 42 leading, 13 edges for second place. More Smoke sits third, which is where he needs to be. Stout Whiskey and More Smoke second and third in points, well off the mark from CGMX Rose, who's leading this race. But you could see that these 3 drivers are playing with house money at this point. Barring a catastrophic collapse of their skills, they will make it to the playoffs, but these next 6 races will be a show of pride and a show of engineering skill as CGMX Rose runs away with 1 win after another. The 2 and the 9 are in grand position to show they can knock down the league leader.
I tell you what, Vols, I'd love to know what this Alliance Worth Deuce has under the hood, because he has absolutely been able to get the power down on that high side and keep right up with everybody. The only thing that's helped the bottom line to move along is the draft. You know, a little bit of a push, a little bit of a pull, again, on that high draft setting, and he's all over these guys that led the majority of stage number 1. Rick, something we haven't seen yet is that 2-car tandem. Nobody's been able to hook up and pull away like what we saw the 48 and the 13 do in stage number 1.
Absolutely not, Pete. Perhaps the 13 and the 48 were just seeing what they could do, now holding back a bit more, knowing that they can go a long distance in stage number 2. However, the 42 of CGMX Rose used a little bit of trickeration to steal the win away from the 13 and the 48. So now that the 2-car tandem is beatable, pit strategy just became a viable option for many more drivers to win stage 2.
Vols, I'm looking at this right now. 42 of CGMX Rose, 13 of Lucky, 9 of More Smoke, 48 of the Aviator, and the 2 of Stout Whiskey. 5 very strong cars, nose to tail, heading into turn 1 and 2, and behind them, a very, very large buzzsaw coming off of 2, starting their way down the backstretch as his top 5 are going into turn 3. Can these guys in the back with more cars catch this top 5 if they get racy, or can they just catch them just by mere numbers?
Oh man, I mean, it kind of goes on with the trigger plate idea. You know, if you can get in a line just like they are right here. These top 5 are bad fast. You know, every time we call the race, it seems like we're saying one of their names in victory lane or in the top 3. They're typically the class of the field when they all show up. And you have the 5 best in a line, but you also have the strength in numbers. These guys back here leading by J-Pa right there, they could possibly make some headway if they just stay together, stay nose to tail, and just hold a pretty line, just hold a pretty wheel down there on the bottom, get the momentum drafted up, and then hopefully get the draft of that 2 car. If they start getting a hand of draft in the 2, we might have us a giant battle here as we come down to end this stage, or at least before pit stops. But this race is shaping up to be really good as we've seen the 42 use some pit strategy. Who's going to do it next? They all need points. They all need to get a win. This will be very interesting to come down. So if you're watching, don't change that channel. This race is going to get even better.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to get better. And Rick, this double deuce of J-Pa, he is absolutely pulling this train up. He's got his sights set on his good buddy Stout Whiskey. Now, there's no teams in the NNR community whatsoever. Trucks, Cup, Xfinity, whatever. Well, no official teams. We'll leave it at that. But he can definitely see the deuce of Stout Whiskey right up ahead of him. And when there were 5 or 6 cars behind J-Pa, they were making hay like it was nobody's business. But since they lost the 36 of Boehner, the 18 kind of fell off just a little bit until just recently. J-Pa's kind of lost track of that top 5. But that just goes to prove if he can get up there, he can be another contender. Just like Cheese in the 10, the 9 of a More Smoke, 36 of Boehner, 18 of Rowdy, this 37 Cottonelle Camaro that we've seen very, very strong during the Pro League. So it's got it under the hood as well. Hell of a race so far. And as Alpha York comes across the start stripe, we've got 22 double deuces left in stage deuce.
22 laps to go. J-Pa in that 22 car, pulling up the secondary train with the 41 of Dan, the lawn man, behind him. Dan sitting 9th in points. His playoff future is not as secure as the leaders, so he is racing for his playoff life, as is the 37 car of Honestly You're Bad. He sits 13 places outside the playoff picture. So J-Pa pulling up 2 drivers that could really use a great points day as they get closer to this lead pack. That looks like the 47 of Augustus, who's around and stopped outside turn 2.
Yeah, down on the apron or the infield, and way out of the way. The game does not recognize him because he's not on the track, and I'm going to guess that it was just him. Maybe got loose, maybe had a little bit of contact. As you see one car way in the back there coming on down pit road, that could be Augustus in the 47. Unsure, but looks like we're going to stay green. A big shout out to our buddy and old commentator from the FFL tournaments, Worm Rider, out there saying hey. And Worm, definitely good to see you, sir. Hopefully all is well. Welcome back aboard, sir. Balls, the sights and sounds of Chicagoland. Deep in the heart of, Joliet, Illinois. Another track kind of out of the way. We were actually having a pretty long conversation the other night after the truck race about going to some tracks that are nowhere near anything else. Homestead, Miami, Michigan, Chicago. Well, Pocono you could say it is, but not really. It's got, Route 80 right there, and it's about 45 minutes north of Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. So long way out there, but there's quite a few tracks out there. Cape, I still see you out there, buddy. If you've got something you need to say, some kind of a big announcement, whether it's regarding morethanAcape.org or something like that, buddy, please work your way into the booth. We'll be more than happy to hand the spotlight over to you, hand you the microphone. You're welcome always. We know that your days here in NNR are kind of limited due to a new employment opportunity. Family and life first, man. So it's up to you, sir. If you need to come on up to the booth to share some news with us, come on up. There's always a seat for you.
Man, Pete, I'm watching this race right here for the top 4. These guys are putting on a clinic. A lot of these guys have come down pit road. Now you got the 41 of Dan the Lawn Man leading this train back there, 5th on back. He's kind of gained some momentum. I saw J-Pa, he came down and pitted about 2 laps ago. Waiting on these top 4 to come down as well. But now the question is, we saw the 42 take 2 tires or no tires and come out in the lead, and he had a substantial lead on the competition. How long are these guys going to stretch this fuel and tires to try to take advantage of something? And maybe who's going to play the strategy of, let me wait for a caution and stay on this track before, so we can see who can knock these top 4, these very fast Chevy Camaros that are leading this race, who can knock them off their throne, and who's going to make a mistake on pit road.
Well, I'll tell you what, Vols, if I had any kind of a vote for, most improved or marked improvement or something like that, I would absolutely go with the 41 and Dan the Lawn Man. Last year, he ran this 35 silver and black paint scheme, almost looked like the famed Gray Ghost. And there was just something about that paint scheme that I absolutely loved. This year he's in that 41. Again, he's got some great teammates. Unofficial again, of course, with Stout Whiskey, with J-Pa, and most of the J-Pa militia that runs in the Xfinity series. And just as we're keeping an eye on that 20 Toyota TRD Camry for Dr. Bush, he just signaled that he's going to be coming on down pit road. So there's your answer, Balls. He's going to be the first one in the second pack to bring it on down, fill it up completely, grab 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods, get back out on track, and get those ponies running one more time. Guys and gals out there in chat, thank you very much for all the cheers and bits and rooting on your favorite driver. Level 1 of the hype train is complete. Thank you very, very much. As always, sincerely heartfelt.
I just
Now starting level 2.
Ellie a subscription and gave my 26th subscription to your channel. So
Phenomenal. You are just, yeah. I actually told Coey the other day that you need an intervention. No lie. Buddy, you have given so much to me, to this channel, all the support, the tags, the social media, links, everything that you do. You've got your brand new podcast that you and Expert Racing are put out. I'll actually go ahead and drop that into the chat right now. Let's see, twitch.tv/experts of racing. Guys and gals, if you want to keep up with the world of baseball, basketball, football, hockey, soccer, wrestling, I mean, if it's a sport, more than likely these guys are covering it. So you're going to want to go on over and absolutely give them a follow. On Tuesday or Wednesday, not 100% sure which day it was, I mentioned that these guys were 4 follows away from their affiliate status. And for them to get that in what it's been, what have you had, Vols, like 2 or 3 shows? If that, one show. You had a great push on Facebook that you kind of paid for to get the information out there, and it resulted in like 5,000 views or something like that. So definitely very well spent. A whole lot of great effort that paid off. Congratulations, both you and Expert.
Thanks, buddy. Rick, you had something there. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, just going on about the race here, about the 13 of Lucky Dog, yet to come in. Now it sounds like he's backing off the accelerator here with about 11 to go, but he goes out for one more circulation around this racetrack in the second stage. He really wants that last win at Chicago.
Yeah, you can see right here, more smoke stayed on his back bumper. Moore hadn't pitted either. We've had the other 2, Aviator and Stout, both came down right here. Didn't he leave these 2 out? You see them behind them. I believe they came down pit road as well, and now they're in a tandem to try to push up here. These guys are trying to stretch it as far as possible to try not to lose again to a two-tire pit strategy. So this ought to be very interesting what Moore can do, staying on the back bumper for this 13 Geico Camaro.
Interesting indeed. He leads just a more smoke into that first corner. I'm not sure if Lucky Dog's just backing off and trying to stretch it the whole distance, should be coming to the 10 to go mark, or at least trying to make it a no tire stop, possibly replicating this strategy from the 42. And there it is. Here comes the leader, Lucky Dog, down to pit road, Pete.
Yeah, Lucky Dog down pit road, leaving the 9 in that beautiful UniFirst Camaro out on track by himself. So More Smoke's going to be one of the last to make his way down pit road, and could be. We saw it on Tuesday night when Bowling was able to run back down the guy that was in first place at the time because he stayed out just a little bit later. He had fresher tires later on and was able to make a lot of moves. More Smoke way tight trying to get on down pit road. The car did not want to turn when he got on the binders, and almost collected one other person behind him. So More Smoke able to avoid some possible disaster, come on down to the attention of his crew, and get ready to work his way on back out one more time.
As they come down pit road, Pete, More Than a Cape in the chat with a special announcement. He says they're going to be raffling off 2 of the exclusive Martin Truex Jr. number 56 Napa Toyota diecasts. What a guy. Pete, as far as Cape goes, Vols goes, we talk about Rock NASCAR 388. We are, I don't know, man. Blessed is not the word. I don't want to use that word because it doesn't begin to cover it, but we are very privileged to be in the community that we are in.
I tell you what, he's doing this all to tease me. I told them the other day, I've got the Martin Truex Jr. car that he won with at Homestead when I was able to work my way down there a few years back. I've got the Martin Truex Jr. Sirius XM car that he won at Dover with. I actually told him like a week or two ago I was looking for the 56 Napa car that he drove, and he said, well, I might be able to help you with that. I know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, and here he is. He says he's got it, and he's gonna raffle it off in front of my eyes. Oh, you're killing me, Cape. But buddy, absolutely appreciate you. I'm sure that's gonna go far. All big things for morethan-a-cape.org. It's going to be great, just like the All-Star Chase Elliott car that we raffled off last season, and that garnered, what was it, Rick? Like over 100 raffle tickets, each of them worth $5. No, it was $5 for one and $10 for three. That was a huge success. I'm sure that beautiful Truex Jr. car will do just the same.
Speaking of huge successes with 2 laps to go, one thing that's successful to me, Pete, is this 48 of Aviator. He's reassumed the lead, now headed down this backstretch just ahead of the 9 car of More Smoke, the 13 of Lucky Dog being challenged by the 42 of CGMX Rose coming out of this 4th corner, Pete. Should be white flag in the air this time.
Yeah, it looks like the 48 really woed up right there. That was actually his last lap, if I'm not mistaken. Riding along. No, they've actually got 2. Okay, so no, Alpha York must have been 2 laps down. So that was the final checker. No call. I'm sorry. The second green and white checker to mark the end of stage 2. So the 48 of the Aviator, he was able to go ahead and grab max points right there. More Smoke P2 and Lucky Dog P number 3. Kind of strange, because by now the game should have taken control. I'm wondering if somewhere in the back a manual caution wasn't called. Are we going to see a 1-lap shootout, or are they just going to pace it on through? I believe that's going to be the case. Let's see.
Right here, Pete.
What's that?
There it is.
This
There
is
it
the
is.
end right
Okay.
here. The final lap here under manual caution. Not sure for the reasons they're possibly trying to bunch everybody back up, but it's going to be the 48 of the Aviator, the 9 of More Smoke, and then the 13 of Lucky Dog taking the top 3 in stage 2.
All right, everybody. There is a great audience out there. Definitely just about 25 of y'all. If you don't know already how to follow NNR, here we go.
Hey NNR fans, don't miss any of the action by following or subscribing to Repeat's Twitch channel. Turn on notifications and you'll always know when the best preset league on Xbox hits the track. Check out his YouTube channel too to see all of NNR's past races. Follow No Name Racing as well as Repeat 1975 and others on Twitter, and you'll never miss any of the action.
All right, guys, here we are. We are back. Start of stage number 348 of the Aviator. 9 of More Smoke, 13 of Lucky Dog, and 2 is outside. Probably one of his biggest competitors. The 42 is CGMX Rose with the 2 of Stout Whiskey to round out your top 5. Vols going into 1 and 2. Let's start this third stage.
Yeah, here comes the 48 down on the bottom, getting a push from the 13. 9 car to the outside, drag race for second down the back straightaway. Who's the 42 going to push? He tucks behind the 13, and now we have a battle for the lead. 13 to the bottom. 13 is going to clear the 48. Now here comes CGMX Rose in the 42 off the exit of 4 for the battle for second.
Rick James, 13 is going to leave the Ally and Credit One Camaros to battle it out. And right behind him, they got a Universe. So we got a couple of insurance guys, we got a couple of banks, and then we got a parts car sitting back there ready to clean up if these guys should actually get into each other. Stout Whiskey just waiting to pounce. These guys are absolutely mixing it up door to door going into 4.
50 laps to go this time at the line. 13, 42, 48, your top 3 for Chevrolets in the top 5 as they cross the line. Lucky Dog, 385. He sits right now 12th in points on the bubble. He is the final playoff entrant, so this win would boost his standing in the table and give him a great grip of confidence headed into Auto Club next week. 49 to go this time.
Vols, I tell you what, Commando Grip just asked. Last night's winner, the 8th different person to win an Xfinity race. He wanted to know where he can get an NNR shirt that takes 3/10 off of his time when they get to Auto Club next week. I don't know, man. What do you think?
Man, Commando, if you want to find all of your NNR league needs, you go over to nnrleague.com. You can get your coffee mugs, you can get your sweatshirts, your t-shirts, your golf balls, whatever you need. You can take all the things in the world on the fastest website in e-sim racing. Go over to nnrleague.com for the greatest merchandise in the history of merchandise.
And absolutely, Rick James, on the bottom of your screen is that updated Twitter handle. The no name _ racing Twitter handle. Unfortunately, they want to just way too much information out there. I think Coey tried to reach out and said, hey, this is what I can offer you to prove who we are. But please, everybody, go follow that new Twitter handle on the bottom, NNR Sim League, to keep up with NNR. Not only here, but also a whole lot of news coming down the pipe about our new iRacing series that will be starting off in February. And I hear, some little birdies, some echo about a pretty good commentator, pretty good broadcaster that's getting, working his way, getting lined up to be able to call those races. I think there's going to be a little bit more to come about that at the end of this race, though. Vols, what are you thinking here, sir?
I think there's a pretty mediocre guy that might get an opportunity to do something pretty cool, and it's going to be interesting. The iRacing series is starting to get up and running with Coey and Cowboy and all those guys going over there and doing that. But it's going to be interesting. I can't wait to go race in it. I've heard nothing but good things, and we're looking at a tower now, and hopefully by the time I get home and that thing's starting up, we'll be running some laps up there on the track and seeing what I can do over there. I ain't no count at NASCAR heat, so hell, might as well go over there and try to run some iRacing, see if I'm any count there. But this lead's starting to tighten back up, man. 48, 42, pushing, trying to get past that 13, but you have some more players coming in this field. Rowdy's came back up here to the front. You have, honestly, your bad. Jose's here and J-Paw. All of these guys are starting to make some headway, man. If we get a caution here or get a caution coming down the line, this race could get very interesting because these guys have been very aggressive on these restarts to get every position possible. So, man, oh man, as the old Atlanta racing says, don't invite your friends, share this stream. This race is coming down to the wire.
Rick, I'm not sure if you just saw that 9 Universe Camaro of a more smoke as he came off of 4 before. there is no way you can't tell me he is pushing that car for all it's worth. He just about fishtailed out, smacked the outside wall, but was able to grab control and get right back in it. He is part of this top 6, top 7. There's a 3-car train right behind him, and what do you know? There is that double deuce right where he's been. I think if he can work his way inside this front group, J-Pa will be a threat before the end of this race.
Pete, that 9 of a more smoke is now beginning to suffer what many of these drivers are starting to suffer, and that is tire wear and a lack of car control due to that. Pete, he wrecked. He just didn't hit anything. Save of the race thus far, 41 laps to go next time by, Pete. So you can bet that we're going to have at least one pit stop if the race stays green to the end. 13, 42, 48, your top 3. Amore sitting 4th, Stout Whiskey 5th, Pete, but that red and white number 22 Shell Pennzoil Penske Mustang gets a bit closer to this top 7.
Yeah, he has got one hell of a fast Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang, and if he can get up there, if he can catch just a little bit of a whiff of that draft to help him pull, and this might just be the break that he needed. 2-car Stout Whiskey broke the line that he was in. He saw a phenomenal gap and pulled a huge slide job to go ahead and go from 5th all the way up to 3rd, and now he's got his eyes set on the 42 of CGMX Rose. 13 of Lucky Dog continues to lead. In case y'all missed it, Lucky Dog actually sent out a tweet this week. He got that whole putting on the Ritz kind of a theme going. He won that Dale Jr. diecast courtesy of the one guy right here in the booth, old Tennessee Vols, and quite a few other guys did as well. Aviator got his. I believe CGMX Rose got his today as well. Got one or two more we still need to get out, but we'll talk about that later. Here comes Stout Whiskey for P2.
Yeah, Stout Whiskey coming down to P2. Got the 48 Aviator tucked in on his back bumper. Chevy and Ford working together here as he tucks back in the line there. But now here comes a more smoke under the 18 of Aviator. That's for the P5 position. Now moves Rowdy back to 6. He's going to try to keep up here as more smoke looks to gain back the positions he lost, but it's still a Chevy lockout of the front two as here comes Stout. He's going for the lead.
Yeah, Stout Whiskey down low, big shove from the 48 of the Aviator. Aviator all over the back bumper of that deuce. Here comes Stout Whiskey. A little bit of a side draft to the left rear of that 13 Geico Camaro. Side by side, 2 rows deep. 18's got to be loving what he sees. He's got his pick of the litter. And J-Pa, he's got to love what he sees as well. These guys are fighting. They are not nose to tail, which means they are not running laps in the same time. This is his chance to try to advance.
37 laps to go. The 13 retains that lead. The 2 of Stout Whiskey in position number 2. Points leader CGMX Rose sits 3rd. Amore Smoke 4th. Then it's Aviator and Rowdy. The 22 Pennzoil Ford gets a bit closer, Pete, with laps winding down before these pit stops. So now the drivers have to be cautious how they race each other on worn tires. 2x2, 2 rows deep is going to mean an easy pick for the 22 of J-Pa.
Yeah, if they get back to battling, which looks like the Aviator thought about ducking on in, trying to get a run on the 9, but no such luck. Balls, the 18 of Rowdy, just sitting back there, biding his time, seeing which line is going to go. And we got a battle for the lead one more time. Stout Whiskey down low, second verse, same as the first, just with a different pusher. Here comes the 42 of CGMX Rose behind the 2, and now Lucky Dog has no help. Amore Smoke had some kind of an issue. Bottom line will prevail. New leader, Stout Whiskey.
Stout Whiskey tucked down at the bottom, got a push from 42 of Rose. Now Rose is going for the lead. He got a big shot from that 48 as the 2-car kind of checked up a little bit. And now we have a track race in the top 2 positions. First 2 rows are side by side. Here comes the 42 with that group of guys behind him. And now it's 3 abreast across the board. It's a 2 by 2 for 3 rows deep. Man, you can't ask for better racing than this. They're holding on to it with worn tires side by side for the lead on that straightaway.
Yeah, Rick James, it looked like as they went into 1 and 2, like they just took the beginning flag for either stage 1, stage 2, or stage 3. 3 rows deep, side by side. 42 CGMX Rose, he's going to prevail and get back to the top. He's got the 48 of the Aviator and the 9 of More Smoke down low with him. To the outside, the 2 of Stout Whiskey and the 13 of Lucky. Which line does he go with coming down the backstretch? Everybody says that high line seems to carry just a little bit, and when you get up close to that wall, you get that little extra aero push, a little bit of extra speed. So 42 kind of making it work.
CGMX Rose breaks out of this when he's got a half-second lead ahead of the 48 of the Aviator and the 2 of Stout Whiskey, but they close that up with the draft immediately. It almost looks like a plate race, going 2 and even 3 wide for position. The 2 of Stout Whiskey has to check up big time as he gets into the wall, and that's going to be the end of his challenge for a while. Rowdy now behind him. 31 laps to go next time by, Pete. Expect pit stops within the next 15 laps, meaning these drivers will be pitting with right around 20 laps to go. The 13 of Lucky Dog now moving to the outside of the Aviator for first.
Yeah, battle challenge, whatever you want to call it, for P number 1 right there. If that was the same as stage number 1, the 48 would have had the drag race, would have grabbed max points right there. And here we go again. First and second, side by side. Third and fourth, side by side. Stout Whiskey right there in P number 5. 18 holding on. You can still see that double deuce back there. Bright red Shell Pennzoil Ford Mustang of hashtag JPA Militia, JPA Mafia. If you're a Bills fan, Bills had a great run last night. I'm sure he's happy to see his buddy doing pretty well.
Yeah, here we go for him. He still has his lead side by side. Second of More Smoke and Lucky Dog there. Moore's going to get a push from the 2 of Stout Whiskey. He's entered himself back in the fray here. Now 42 comes to the outside. Man, what a race so far as Lucky Dog sends it into turn number 3. And now the 9's going to get back under him. It's going to be side by side for the second 2 rows. Second and third still under attack by the Ford and the Chevy there. And as the 9 clears them, this race is getting intense towards the end.
105 laps complete, now 106 of the 134 underway. 48, 9, 13, your top 3 high side, 4 Chevrolets in your top 4. The 2 of Stout Whiskey makes contact with the 42 of CGMX Rose, and drivers need to think about who they're going to pit with and on what lap. The driver who can stretch their mileage the farthest is in the best position to have the most fresh tires when the checkered flag flies, Pete. But right now the 48, the 9, and the 13 have all been swapping positions so much they haven't been able to save a drop.
Not saving a drop whatsoever, and a guy that might have something for him, who knows? As these guys flashed on by going down the backstretch, we saw the 36 of the one and only Boehner coming on out of pit road. Really haven't talked about or really seen much of Boehner in that Select Blinds Ford Mustang, but he's just now coming out of pit road, so he's got 4 freshies and a tank full of gas. 27 laps remaining here in the race. Still one hell of a battle, but Rick, this race could be won on pit road. Usually when they go on down, do what they need to do with the attention of their crew, they tend to get just a little separated. 42 did something right in stage number 2, grab max points. Will somebody take a note from his, take a page from his notebook, or will he be able to repeat?
48 still leading across that line now. He's got 25 to go next time by. The 36 of Boehner signaling that he's going to come down pit road, and this is going to open that next round of stops, Pete. So we'll have to see where the leaders end up. And now that one driver comes down pit road, psychologically, there's now pressure on the rest of the field to commit to the same action. So it's now a game of chicken. It's a race to the bottom of the fuel tank. And with a quarter left in this final Chicagoland race, the 48 has all but everybody wanting to shoot at him.
Balls, look at this 95 of Jose. 37 of Honestly You're Bad, and the double deuce of old J-Pa. 3 cars lined up. They should have, by now, the draft from the 18 of Rowdy. Rowdy obviously not far off the back bumper. The 2 is Stout Whiskey. If those 5 cars get lined up, get caught up, get going, they could spell trouble for the 42, for the 13, for the 48, as looks like J-Pa just now status. He's going to be taking it on down pit road this time, and judging by the onboard with Alpha York, he's only got 2 laps, so that means everybody else also very, very close to being bone dry. We should be seeing everybody make their way down pit road.
Yeah, now we had the 4-car battle back here for the draft position to get to the front. The 18 and the 22 both tipped down pit road. Jose in the 95 and honestly you're bad in the 37 are coming down this lap. So we'll see where they stack out with those 2 competitors and how their outlap is going to be to try to stay abreast with these guys. But we see now, I believe here comes the 9-car with more smoke. Aviator and Stout are all pitting at the same time. And honestly you're bad, I believe. Oh man, he almost missed pit road right there.
Almost. Very, very hard on the binders. One thing, you know what, I haven't tested it in a while. I don't know. But in Heat 3 and Heat 4, if you came across that commitment line, you know, sliding the tires, it counted it as though you were speeding. I don't know if it's been the same in Heat 5. You know, I haven't really ran it enough, but if that's the case, he could be very, very close. It might, that could spell a lot of trouble for a very, very fast car. We'll have to see how it all sorts out once everybody's done with their stops.
48 is down and away, 13 is down and away, the 37 as well, Stout Whiskey following. So the 4 leaders that came in now leaving, the 9 of Amore Smoke and the 42 of CGMX Rose. Those 2 came down pit road together also. We're going to have approximately 22 laps to go when we cycle back around. 42 still shown as the leader, Pete, but now the 48 and the 13, who are hooked up nose to tail like in stage 1, are going to overtake.
Absolutely. I was just going to say, we've absolutely seen the way that this has played out before. I see Stout Whiskey. He's got the tracks of the 18 right in front of him. Behind them, you see the 22 of J-Pa, the 95, and other company. So the top 5 really broke up. You don't see the 42 right there. You don't see them all nose to tail. They're all trying to figure out where they belong in line. You see the 18, he's made a couple spots up. 42, he's lost a couple spots. 9 of Amore Smoke, he's right about even. 2-car Stout Whiskey, he's in the back of this, but look just a little bit behind them. Still, that 22 of J-Pa, the 95, and the 37, if they join up with Stout and company, that top 2 is going to be in trouble. But, Rick, they're really going to have to pedal.
They're going to have to pedal, Pete. There's 20 laps to go, and if those cars get in formation, it's over for those 2 and their partnership at the front, because they're going to have a lot more drivers to play. The 42 of CGMX Rose with a big bump draft from the 9 of Amore Smoke, and Rowdy in that 18 joining as well. Side by side, these 2 leaders, and that 2-car fight for first is about to become 6.
Yeah, looks like 13's able to hold on. Aviator, we've seen the Aviator in races past not be able to quite pull it off when he got to the line, just as the 13 of Lucky Dog kind of scraped that outside wall just a little bit, riding along or looking at the front end of this Geico Camaro. No insurance adjustment is going to be needed. No real big damage, and 48's still right there on his track. Rick, or Vols, it's very, very interesting to see just how much these guys are able to stay ahead of the 42 and company. This 2-car tandem, these guys got it figured out.
Yeah, they're fast for a reason. They lead a majority of the races for a reason. But I've been watching from the back bumper of the 13, looking at that 42 and company that's coming up with Stout and Amore and Rowdy. They're making some headway. They're pulling up there, and Stout gets in the wall. As I say that, now it's back to 2 cars, and then now Stout and Rowdy are going to have to catch back up. But they're coming. They have maybe about a lap fresh of tires than the 2 leaders do. this could get very interesting before this race is over if those two can push their way at the front.
Yeah, Rick, looking backwards from that 48 Ally Camaro for the Aviator, you can absolutely see the Credit One words on the front of the car for CGMX Rose. He's working, getting closer and closer. He's about ready to make that withdrawal from the bank and show these two up front. They don't absolutely have everything that it takes to be able to hold them off. And now we got a pack of two, we got a pack of two, we got a pack of two, and we got a pack of three. So the first, 10 cars, very spread out, very fast cars. Rick James, I don't think we're the top two. I don't think they're going to end up being the top two at the end.
There's 14 laps to go next time by, Pete. Still so much that's possible. The 42 and the 9 of CGMX Rose and a More Smoke, respectively, now have a smell of the draft of the 13 and 48. Cue the shark music because these two are on the hunt. Tandem draft versus tandem draft in the final 13 and 1/2 laps.
Wow, riding along a hood view right now with the 42 of Rose, and he absolutely had it hammered down coming off of turn one. He slid it all the way up against that outside wall to allow max speed. He can read Ally on the back of that 48. 48's got to be able to read the hood of the 42 behind him. I don't think the 48 and the 13 are quite hooked up like they were in stage number one. 42 and the 9 are absolutely catching them. I don't think it's going to be very long. They've got to have that draft. By now, that draft meter inside that car has got to be pegged, balls.
Yeah, this takes me back to the race Brad Keselowski won at Talladega. It was Carl Edwards, Brad Keselowski, Dale Jr., and Ryan Newman, and they were tandem drafting across the board. Who's going to be Ryan Newman and who's going to be Carl Edwards in the catch fence at the end of this race if it gets all hairy? We'll see if these two can catch up to these leaders. The 48 and 13 have proven throughout this race that they are able to run in a tandem and they're able to hold it successfully. We've seen the 42 and 9 run it successfully as well, but not to the extent of the two leaders. As they're catching up here, who is this going to benefit? If they get side by side, is Scott's going to be the beneficiary? Is the 18 going to be the beneficiary of this one? Or are they just going to jumble up and be on worn tires and wreck it? And maybe J-Pod could be the beneficiary of this if they just jumble up and wreck here. But man, this race is going to get intense if they can keep up here.
Yeah, if they can keep up. Something I've noticed here, Rick, over the last couple laps, the 9 of More Smoke has started to fall off of the back bumper of the 42 with CGMX Rose at different parts of the track. I don't know if being in the draft of the 42 is very beneficial for a More Smoke's race. Yeah, he wants to get back up there with the 48 and the 13, but if he's in the 42's draft and it's completely throwing off his entry, throwing off his exit, he's having to try to get more throttle time in, and it's just wearing away at his right rear tire or maybe his right front getting turned down into the corner. These two may not be able to catch him. More needs the 42 as much as the 42 needs the 9.
The 42 needs the 9. You said it, Pete, but the 42 is not dealing with just anybody in these final 9 laps. The 42 is dealing with Lucky Dog and Aviator. Only 9 starts between them. They have fewer starts than the top 9 in points, but their average finish is better than 2nd through 10th in points. Pete, these two are two of the best to do it, but they're also being chased by 1st and 3rd respectively in the points. So the numbers say one, while recent history says another. In these final 8 laps at Chicagoland, Peter, it's still anybody's race.
Absolutely anybody's race, and we've seen the 48 in this position before. Just sitting there, biding his time, staying in the draft, keeping his tires as cool as possible, and at the very last second, try to come on out and pass. We've seen it once or twice, and I believe I know one of them was at least for a stage. I think we saw it for a victory as well, but just missed it by like a fender's distance. So we'll have to see if the 48 is sizing up the 13 of Lucky Dog, seeing where he's the weakest, which the guy does not have very many faults at all. And just as I say that, 13 slides up, 48 stayed low, and that might have given a little bit more time back to the 42, going a lap of car. 48's not on the back bumper of the 13. This is the first time we've seen a little distance, a little bit of instability in the lobby. 13 walked it up the track, 48 able to keep it right there, and now the 42's got to fight with that lap down car as well. I think that just sealed their deal, Vols. I no longer think they've got enough time. We'll have to see who's going to be able to come across that start stripe first. 48's going to be able to slingshot on by, or will the 13 be able to hold them off?
Well, I think once the 48 and 13 gets racing, 42 and 9 can kind of stay where they're at. I think they're in the catbird seat here. When is the 48 going to pull out? Is he just going to stay locked to that bumper of the 13 and just be content with second? I haven't known Aviator much to be content with the P2 position, so I'll look for him to kind of pull out, maybe with about 2 to go, kind of make a run, and then if he can't get it, pull back in, get a draft last lap, try to make it happen. But this is where it gets interesting. Trippy was nice and moved out of the way. He didn't want to affect the end of the race. No sense in it. You're already going a lap down. Kind of move over, pull out of the way of the top four, and it's a very classy move on his part. Now we just got to see what the 42 and 9 can do, because the 48's very content here in second, and how long is he going to be content though?
Rick James, 4 more laps to go. 13, 48, 42, the 9, and the 22 back there with the 18. That is your top 6, all tandemed up. And laps are absolutely winding down. We're about ready to see exactly who it is that may claim the very last victory from Chicago Motor Speedway, because this track is not on next year's schedule. So who knows if they're going to have it included in the next edition of the game, whatever it may be. If they don't, whoever wins tonight has bragging rights for a very long time.
2 laps left. The 48 tries to get under the 13, but Lucky Dog being a bit more cautious on that inside line and knowing the Aviator will not look to the outside yet. White flag is in the air next time by, Pete. 13 leading the 48 out of turn number 4, and the Aviator has but a couple more chances to get this win.
Absolutely. 13 down low, going to block the 48. 48, he's going to slide up high just a little bit, maybe back up the corner, try to get a great dive. 13 of Lucky Dog, he's going to come on down, ride that white line all the way through, seal that deal. You even see him all the way down on the line. So the 13 scrubbed off just a little bit of speed to keep it pasted to the line. 13 down low, 48 outside, not quite able to keep the hammer down. 13 off the corner, 48 still behind. 48 looks like he's gonna have to settle for P number 2 one more time. Congratulations, Lucky Dog, your Chicagoland winner. Not bad at all.
That's going to be Lucky Dog's second win of the year, and the second win from the first starting position. So Lucky Dog in 5 starts, nabbing 2 wins from the pole, and this is going to shoot him up from 12th in the points, well through Lucky Dog first, Aviator second, Rosie rounding out your top 3.
Yeah, not bad. Rick James, we've said it many, many times. The cream rises to the top. These guys are going to be your main championship players. It's going to be. We got 10 races to go before we get to the championship 6. It's going to be a lot of fun to see exactly how this plays out. And man, Stout Whiskey just commented, said, tried to give you guys a race worth watching. Stout Whiskey, y'all succeeded and then somebody. Thank you very much for all you do, for the great show that you make sure is put on. We absolutely appreciate you, not only on track, but being one hell of an admin here for NNR. Guys and gals, please keep it right here. We're going to let these guys take their cool down laps. I'm going to back out of that. We're going to let everybody work their way into the booth, and we will be right with you. Fry Dog, buddy, thank you very much for all the bits. We'll be right back.
That was nuts.
Hold on. All right, guys. Definitely want to thank all 20 plus of you for keeping it right here. Absolutely appreciate it. We got our top 3 in the booth. Vols, go ahead, kick us off, sir.
Rose, man, once again, coming up here, getting the top 3 position. We saw you play some strategy in stage number 1. Kind of didn't work out in your favor in stage number 2, but kind of walk us through what your idea was in stage 1 to take, I think, 2 tires or no tires and get stage 1 victory.
Well, in stage 1, just was unlucky and lost the draft to the top 2, which I believe was Aviator and Lucky Dog. So I just wanted to get as much track position as possible. So I went into the pits and decided to take no tires, and it ended up paying off.
Yeah, well, you came down to the end. You got to P number 3. You were getting pushed by more there. What was the discussion between you guys of, okay, if these guys get to battling, stay on my bumper, and we might be able to get this win? Kind of talk us through what your idea was there. Closing about 15 laps to go, you were nose to tail. I mean, you and Amore stayed nose to tail the entire time. He never pulled out until the end. But how key was it to have him on your bumper, and how much of the draft did you have from the 48?
It was definitely key. Me and Amore decided to go an extra lap compared to the front 2, so we thought the fresher tires would end up working out in our favor, but just didn't have enough pace, which disappoints me. So I'll need to get better for next time, and so we can catch them.
Yeah, man. Well, got any shout outs here for your P3 spot?
Yeah, shout out to you guys up in the booth, the guys for putting on a hell of a race, and Corey for running this thing.
Yeah, man. Well, congratulations, Rose. It's good to talk to you again. We'll head it on over. I think Rick has a P2 position.
Let's see if we can have a word with our second place finisher, Aviator. You took that 48 car to great heights and depths all over the track, trying to find the best line out there. In the end, you did a great job coming home second. Did you have fun out there tonight?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was one of the most intense races I've had in a while. I'm still sweating. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And how about some shout outs for your fans at home tonight, Eli?
Shout out to everyone in that top 10. That was a hell of a race. I was having so much fun there.
Absolutely. Any strategies for next week at Auto Club?
I'm just going to the same race mentality like every week. Just go to win. That's all I got.
Congratulations on second place, man.
Thank you.
Pete?
Thank you very much, buddy. Definitely appreciate both of you. And let's move on up to that driver of the 13 Geico Camaro, Lucky Dog. It's repeat. You got me, sir.
I think I got you. Your mic lagged a little bit, but yeah, buddy, I got you.
Oh, okay. Well, anyhow. No, man. I tell you what. You got a top 5 last week. You won yourself a little diecast. You sent a little tweet out there about putting on the Ritz. Well, tonight you and a few others absolutely put on the Ritz. It seemed like anybody inside the top 7 had a legit chance of possibly coming away with this victory. You, the 48, the 18, the 2 of Stout Whiskey, even the 22 of J-Pa. I said it during the stream, if he was able to catch the draft of the 18 of Rowdy and pull himself up, y'all might have had a real battle with that double deuce. But man, you had a great race with the 48. You knew as laps were winding down, he was going to try to get to the outside, get to the inside. You completely sealed off that bottom line so he wasn't able to back up the corner, get back in the throttle, and try to pressure you for the spot. What did you have to do, or what was going through your mind when you had the 48 up your back bumper for the entire bit of stage 3?
Well, let me first off say that what an amazing race. That has to be one of the best races of the season, just because, like you said, it was so competitive. You had about 7 or 8 guys in the fight to win that race, and definitely brought you a good show in stage 3 for sure at the first stint. So I'm glad that we got to put on a good performance out there for everybody watching NNR. But yeah, those last few laps, just Eli made a mistake. We both made a mistake, and we both hit the apron. I think it was in 1 and 2. I hit the apron too, but not as bad, and I was pushing tight from that, and I was trying to best to stay off of him, and he let me through and was leading us 2 because the 9 and the 42 were on a lot fresher tires. So I'll be honest, I thought they were going to pass us or catch us, but surprisingly, with the pace that we had and just running nose to tail like we did in stage 1, and we're closing in, but then after a while, it started to become at a stalemate. So overall, we just did really good. And then the last lap, I wasn't going to try to be too. I didn't want to block. I don't like blocking, but I was going to try to be a little defensive entering the corners there, just try to not miss my marks. And I think we did a good job of that, though. And just happy to rebound after last week, just because I just felt really guilty. And to have a good race of Eli, good clean race, and good clean race of everybody. I mean, we're running outside, even though the outside wasn't a great lane. I mean, just holy cow, that was. I hope you better save that broadcast, because that was a race to remember for sure.
This broadcast was actually simulcast between YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch tonight. So it was out there in many places. You'll be able to view it in many ways. Lucky Dog, this is your second victory that you've notched here in your very, very short tenure with NNR. 10 more races to go before we get to the cutoff and start that 6-race playoff. Do you feel you're ready and able to tackle the best of everybody here?
I think this is our third one. We wanted the Roval, but that one didn't count towards points, unfortunately. Points were declared, I think, at Martinsville. So unfortunately, that's not on the web page, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, 2 wins in a row. I mean, feeling ready. I've been getting better and better at the presets by racing in this competitive series, and also by racing an SXRL on Saturday nights. Well, really Sunday mornings is at midnight, but racing there, against guys like Amore and Aviator and Stout, especially last week in Kentucky. So when you get to race around such a great group of guys, Rose included, and Rowdy, and even honestly, it's really good too. It really, keeps pushing you to do better, and it's just really was a great race, and it definitely feels rewarding when you come out on top here. But overall, I'm feeling confident going into these next few races. It's going to be very challenging, no doubt, but just going to try and make sure we're in the top 12. I think we are pretty, not want to say comfortably, but I think we just cracked the top 12 after this race, and try to stay there and just try to keep on getting more playoff points. So been racking up the playoff points in a pretty good fashion. So I've been very happy about that.
Well, there you go, buddy. And absolutely a great race up front just about all night long. Congrats. Any quick shout outs? Obviously there's a lot of Lucky fans out there.
Really? That's awesome. That's great to hear. So I absolutely got to thank a lot of people. I got to thank everybody at NNR for putting on a great series, all 3 series, I should say, and just a great league overall. I enjoy racing here. It's just, it was really great. And to have a special race, the final race at Chicagoland, I think we put on a great show. It's just a great group of guys we have. And also got to say a big thank you to the Incredible Three, the 3 Musketeers. I don't know what they call it in the booth. You, Pete, Rick, and Terry for always putting on some great broadcasts. Got to thank you guys for doing that, making sure that our league the league is just doing a fantastic job. Got to thank all my friends for the great support, Team Firewood out there, and my family for all the support. And I just got to say, I mean, we're going to definitely be vibing in a Ritz car after this one, after getting that Ritz car diecast. So, what a great way to win.
Well, talk about diecasts. I tell you. Rick James, you're still there, right?
Loud and clear, Pete.
Go ahead and take a look at your monitor, if you don't mind, please. You got it up, sir?
I got you, sir.
All right. Any Xfinity race that we've called, every time we come across the one car, a Cole 315, you talk about that iconic Oreo car for Dale Jr. This car is headed your way, buddy. A big, big thank you from me to you for all of your continued help, your continued support. I know every time this car comes up on screen, you're talking about how much you think that paint scheme is amazing. During the Xfinity race last night, the winner of that race, which J-Pa graciously gave over from his top 5 finish at Gateway the week before. The guy that won last night chose to give you this car, and he took the Dale Jr. MLB All-Star car from like 2002 or 2003. So yeah, buddy, I'm gonna go ahead and get your information offline. But yeah, this Oreo Ritz 3 diecast will be on its way to you.
Oh man, oh wow, man, I can't even start with a million thank yous, man. A million thank yous, man. We'll you'll get that information ASAP here, and wow. uh, I'm, man,
Absolutely
I'm
deserved,
speechless.
sir.
I'm speechless. I'm don't let me take up any more time with my speechlessness. Thank you, Pete. Wow.
Not at all. Now, one more thing. Old Tennessee Vols messaged or tweeted out earlier that the one and only Coey was going to have some information that was kind of important, I guess. I don't know exactly what it was. But, Coey, you got some news for us?
Yeah. First off, congratulations to Lucky Dog for his win. Aviator and those guys had a good battle. But with Vols coming on board for our first iRacing series that we are going to start with trucks, starting beginning of February, we are going to throw a 6-race series together to start to get guys together, and then we will go to 11 race series to finalize all the drivers to kick off a full season with Vols once he comes back from Korea later in June.
There
And
you
Vols
go.
will be taking over the full broadcast to give you a break so you can come race with us, Pete.
Absolutely, I'm looking forward to piloting the number 8. You know, gotta rep my Dale Jr. The one and only NNR Bowling was gracious enough to make me a beautiful warthog paint scheme, kind of like what you saw Bubba Wallace drive. Just on a truck. It looks amazing. If you want to know what it looks like, go through your car roster here on NASCAR Heat 5 and go over to Diego's car. That's exactly what it looks like. It's amazing. Can't wait to pilot that thing over on iRacing. I actually just about picked up my A-Class license today. I'm happy to be racing. However, and I've said this before, Coey, if the makers of Heat 6 or whatever they decide to call it, keep it right here on Xbox, we're still going to have an Xbox league. Not everything is moving over to iRacing, so you'll still be able to find me here, providing they make the new game compatible for this Xbox and they don't make everybody have to go out to buy the new Xbox Series X. If that's it, I think there's probably going to be a lot of people that just say, sayonara, they'd rather pay that $500 towards the tower and get going. But Coey, yeah, that's great news. Vols, you absolutely deserve that. I know you're going to do a great job in the booth with all the heart, the soul, the time, the money, and everything else that you put into this, into your podcast and everything else. Buddy, I know you're going to do great things over on the iRacing side here with NNR. Rick and Vols, any last minute thoughts about tonight's race, gentlemen?
I can't wait for next week. Auto Club, wide, fast, 2 miles, and if it's anything like this race, it will be the same edge of your seat action for all 3 stages like we saw tonight.
Yeah, man, I'm just I'm thankful and I'm honored that they came and asked me to do the iRace and stuff. It's going to be a great adventure to leave Korea and come home to a tower, and also my beautiful wife and my family, and to have you guys as family as well, and to let me do that. It means a lot to me. I'm hoping to finalize a co-broadcaster, somebody to come in there with me. I've got about 5 names on my list, and I've asked all 5, and one of them might be a big surprise, and we might be in for a world of hurt if I can pull that one off. But it's great to be a part of the NNR family, and hell, I can't wait to go iRacing. But what a race they had here tonight. And like I said, Auto Club next week is going to be amazing. I will not be anywhere near my Xbox for the next 3 weeks. So this is my last one until I believe my birthday. I'll be home on February 6th. And you guys should be able to hear my beautiful voice on my birthday on the podcast here in Korea. So yeah, tune into that. We'll have a birthday celebration for me, I guess. Celebrate my Korean birthday, then I'll celebrate my American birthday the next day. But Koei, dude, thanks so much, and everybody listening in this chat that can hear me, go follow Repeat and Rick. You know, those two have taught me a lot, and for them to trust me enough to take the reins of an NNR broadcast for full time, it damn near brings me to tears. And I don't cry much, but it's just a big honor because I like to talk racing, and man, it's awesome. It's just awesome. I can't wait to do it.
We're glad to have you, Balls, and appreciate you wanting to stay with NNR and move on to the iRacing side. It's going to be, I think it's going to be really exciting. And if anyone out there that, you know, is interested in iRacing, you can get a hold of me or NNR Cowboy in the Truck Series, or go to our Facebook page, our website, leave a message, and we'll get with you. Starting February 5th, I believe, February 5th or 6th is when we'll kick it off for the 6-race series to start getting people used to the trucks. And we will be only running trucks for this season.
All right, put the website out there in the chat one more time, www.nnrleague.com. Make sure you go on over, leave a message for Koei, leave a message for Stout or JPA, for Boehner, for Swats. Any of the series leaders or admins will be more than happy to get back to you. It's going to be a great time. I think right now, Koei, what are we up to, like 15 or 20 trucks? And we haven't even turned the first lap, just a few fun runs. So it's absolutely going to be a great time. It's going to be very competitive. If you like what you see here on this, Heat 5 video game, wait till you see these guys on Sim. They do a phenomenal job. So on behalf of me, Koei, Rick James, Vols, and everybody else out there, congratulations one more time, Lucky Dog, on your win here from Chicagoland, possibly the very last winner at this track. Guys, we will see you out and about somewhere. Please, again, stay safe, stay healthy, wear your mask, keep away from people so we can all get back to the track as soon as possible and put this COVID behind us all. Have a great night. We'll see you from Auto Club next Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern with these NNR truck guys.